back to Mind the Word, a space where everyone's welcome to share their experiences about language learning. If you want to join me, just grab yourself a cup of tea and let's get started. Today we're going to talk about 5 tips to get you started on your language. Alright? So let's get started. Tip number 1. Input is everything. This is the most important thing that you need to realize. The more you're exposed to a language, the more you're going to have issues to learn from. So you need to be exposed to a whole different environment, a bunch different people, and you can just do that by yourself in the first few months at least. To switch all of your devices to the language you're going to learn. So for instance, if you want to learn French, your phone, your Facebook, your Instagram, your email, everything has to be in French. I mean, not saying it has to, but it really is going to help you. So that's the first step. The second step is you are really going to be benefited by just watching movies and series and even the news. It's something that is going to expose you to a little bit of different shades of the language, and you're going to listen to things that are a bit more dramatic and things that are a bit more natural. And even for me at least, listening to for instance, series or actors or movies, it really got me to see the difference between, I don't know, an actor doing an interview and being a bit more honest, and an actor doing a movie and seeing how he or she would sound portraying a certain role. So that's really something that kind of gives you a different spectrum of how the language can sound. Tip number 2, start doing something that you already love in the language that you want to learn. So this is very important because sometimes we force ourselves to do something that we don't really are passionate about. If you put yourself in a situation where you're forcing yourself to learn the language, there's a really big chance that you're going to start hating the language or associating bad things to the language because you're just forcing yourself. So if you already put it in a context of something that you do, that you love, that's really going to help you. For instance, if you like to run, just find a running group. If you want to learn Spanish, find a running group that is just a bunch of Spanish people running in the city that you live. If you want to learn French, do a cooking class with French people or about French food with all the people that have interest in the language and in the culture. So it's something that I'm sure is going to help you have a whole different positive experience about the learning process. Tip number 3, and I know this is hard for some people, but if you have the chance to travel, please do so. It's going to expose you to so many different experiences that you would never be in if you didn't travel. It's going to make you learn the language. It's going to expose you to a lot of different people that have different experiences, different lifestyles that you do. Especially if it's in another continent and they live their daily lives much more differently. So it's something that is really going to help you, and it's also going to motivate you because you're going to be able to put in use all that little bit that you've already trying, you've been working so hard for, and it's really going to move you into the next step. So seriously, go for it, go travel. Tip number 4, be shameless. What I mean by that is don't feel afraid of making mistakes. Don't feel afraid of people judging you, because honestly, people don't give a fuck. Just don't judge yourself either. If you're afraid of making mistakes, you're never going to go that step forward into actually having the chance to make mistakes, because you're not going to talk at all. So that's very important to do. Plus, people make mistakes all the time in their own language anyway, so who cares? Also, I'm not really promoting the consumption of alcohol. Don't really drink that much myself. But something that I know and a lot of people have tried before, being a little tipsy really gets you work on it. I think it really just, makes you a little bit more free and, less confronted with the whole thing of being judged. And you really just go for it and you actually sound pretty good. So don't be ashamed to also put a little bit on the side. Tip number 5, and this is a tip that it really is very close to me. Don't put your learning experience on someone else's hands. What I mean by that is sometimes we have the sort of wish to learn a new language, and it comes with the New Year resolutions and all these things that we want to do, and the only way that we first thing about doing is like, oh, I'm going to register for this course, and by the end of the year I'm going to speak that language. It doesn't really work like that. It works based on your hard work and based on your motivation. So I'm not saying don't do a course. I'm sure it can help. I myself, I'm a teacher, but it really has to come from your will to wanting to learn a language. And when you choose to just do a course, sometimes you put all that pressure into that one person that is going to guide you to your learning experience. And everyone is different. Not everyone is comfortable in a class. Not everyone actually enjoys doing homework and learning about really just things that appear in a book. So I think it's very important to make a connection between your daily life and the things that you want to accomplish by learning that language with your learning process or your learning experience. So just think about why you want to learn that language and what would be the best way to work through that. So I think this is all for today. Thank you so much for listening to the video, and if you like the content and you want to hear more, go back to the channel, Mind the Word, and click subscribe. Thank you.